And off we go, off to the races here into the losers bracket quarter finals. This is the business end of the tournament. The players still alive here, vying for their opportunity, their chance to get to the finals. In the left-hand corner of the map, playing as the red Tsukiyomi with the golden statue to the moon god of the Japanese pantheon. It's Mosca, his opponent today, in the blue color. Another surprise entrance into the losers bracket. He would be one of my picks to have made it to the winners bracket finals, but he didn't make it there. In the blue color, it is Tag's very own Recon, and he's going to be playing some set for us. The map, Gorge, the best of 5, and the players are off to the races here. So let's check out the relics and see if there's going to be anything impactful here. We've got Blanket of Empress, so nice to help your buildings stay alive for just a little bit longer. Up onto this side, we have the Scarab Pendant, which does make siege myth units and things like that do a little bit more crush damage. Up to the top side of the map, we've got ourselves the Tail of Cerberus, which is going to be special attack recharge time, minus 25% there for the myth units. And finally, to round out the whole thing, we've got Hecate's Torch, which is minus 10% for the God Powers, recharge time, and recast cost. So nothing super impactful. Maybe Hecate's Torch is kind of nice for the free vision spamming, makes the vision come off cooldown a little bit faster, but realistically here, the only player that's really going to be wanting to spam God Powers is going to be the Tsukiyomi. So you want to keep that away from the Tsukiyomi if you can, but, you know, Recon's probably not going to be enjoying that. There is maybe an angle for going into multiple citadels here, but chances are if you get to that point, set's already in a good position. Nonetheless, we do have a somewhat forward gold mine here for Mosca, which Recon could try and take advantage of with some Wadget play. Haven't really seen a whole lot of one town center Wadget stuff happening of late. It used to be the go-to. Wow, both players cutting. That's wild. Both players cutting their villages to advance here as both players' temples a little bit delayed. That I haven't seen that in a long time. They both remember to start villages though, and that's nice. And we are going to be Simtar. However, I could be wrong, but this looks to me like Recon is going to be playing for a second town center. He's got his Pharaoh on the gold mine. He's got 8 villages on the gold. On the flip side here, only 4 villages on gold for Mosca. His wood line, only 2, potentially 3 there. But this is going to be a stable opening 9 times out of 10 for Mosca. He might also drop a military building. What's it called? I can't even remember what it's called. My brain has just left me. This one, the guardhouse. He might drop a guardhouse here as well, so he can get himself out of bushy to deal with any sort of Anubite presence, but there's no Anubites coming, so he's not going to need that. So he might wait and just see, but still no stable up actually at all. In fact, what is Recon doing? This is such a bizarre opening from Recon. He didn't get pickaxe. He's dropping a barracks in his main base. He advanced quite quickly. I'm confused. He has 1 monument. I was assuming he'd go next age, but maybe he's just... Did he go for extra priests? I wish I knew. He's got 1 priest. I've got no idea. In this back corner here, we do see the priest. We've got an Auroch over here as well, as this priest here will get involved to try and deal with the Juragumo. However, she is a problem as the micro here from the Juragumo, from the Auroch, trying to deal with the Juragumo, but she is deadly as she manages to take out the priest. And so too does the Auroch end up falling here as some spearmen will start to come out. So Mosca has managed to get past any type of cheeky shenanigans here from Recon as Recon drops another military building, but still no second monument. So as much as I would be expecting to see, like, I guess mass Wadgets or something like that, it's not what's happening. And on the other side, I still haven't seen a military building here for Mosca. Mosca is dropping an armory, and I could be wrong, but it looks like he's going for a fast heroic age. which is a throwback because it used to be the stock standard for Tsukiyomi to go for a fast heroic, drop down the new moon on the temple, get yourself access to the most important technologies of the temple, and then be able to spam out a whole bunch of Tengu. As the wall's coming up over here for Mosca as well, he's getting himself up another shrine. Priests are now starting to come through. To be honest, Mosca, he doesn't actually need gold here. He actually probably wants to take everyone off of gold and then kind of go for the wood line. However, Recon, he's not having any of it. The wall here will go up. The repairs coming in. Is there enough stuff? The town center will be enough, and Recon can't break through. Mosca gets out of it just barely. He's on the cows at the moment, trying to repair this up. This villager going down. The Miko trying to heal her back up. An absolutely terrifying position for Mosca to try and just get this fast heroic off. Mosca is going to be getting to the next age. However, at what cost? Because realistically, he's got 0 favor in the bank. He's not gaining favor for these Tengu. What's he going to go for? What's the point? The spearmen making their way in. This couldn't get any worse for Mosca. Like, Recon has completely disabled this fast heroic. I mean, maybe he can just go straight into Horse Archer as the shrine comes down. That's going to lock these spearmen off for a little bit. Picks up one spearman, going after the other ones. This house almost going down as we've also got the Tengu coming through. That's going to be taking out these spearmen, and Recon, he's going to lose a whole bunch of army here almost for free, as we've also got the wall coming down and the stable as the ghost building manages to come through, and Recon is stuck in here. A huge move from Mosca. He hits back, but the village is pushed off of the gold mine for the time being here. There's not really enough units in for Mosca to do a whole lot, but lots of spearmen down, lots of idle time caused. Who's in the advantage? Who has the advantage right now is a very difficult thing to call. We will see the Daimyo coming through as the spearmen still popping forward for Recon. Pure aggression at the moment. So many priests in for Recon because he's like, oh, you're just going for myth unit. Let me just make a whole bunch of priests. But that's actually, I don't know if that's the case here. He's obviously going to get himself the extra shrines, but New Moon onto the armory at some point. Does he have any armory upgrades in? No. But where to next? Got the random Kitsune wandering around to the side. Villagers moving up to this gold mine nice and early is dangerous if Mosca can sneak out of his base. But he's got 0 gold. Another shrine over onto this left side. I feel like the only good move here for Mosca is to take advantage of Ivory Netscare to help him get some extra resources in as the house gets bashed down. Spearman yet again going to attempt to get back into here. Onto this side, we do see one Kitsune able to take out a villager. Huge for Mosca as Recon is fully focused onto this side. We see some spearmen coming up here to defend this position for the time being. And slowly but surely, the Yumi horse cavalry will start. Horse archers. I said it again. The Yumi horse archers will be coming in. I guess it's Yumi, and Yumi is bow, horse, cavalry, Yumi, bow, horse. Bow, horse. I don't know. Nonetheless, one Tengu does end up going down. The villagers pushed off the wood line on the front. He could try and grab this position off onto the back here. One Naginata Rider going after the priest, manages to pick that one off. But Recon is doing such a good job of strangling here. The Tengu, however, slowly coming over onto this side as the shifting sands. But immediately, Swampland gets dropped down, and Recon is out of here. So too is the Wadjet, however, as the Daimyo are going to come forward. One Samurai can be a huge boost here as the Spearman coming back in onto this position, just not caring in the slightest about this Swampland. almost taking down the Juragumon, not using the Tengu just yet. Right now is the opportunity to go for that raid as the villagers over here starting to go down. Miko trying to heal the villagers up, manages to keep them alive, but does lose her own life for that as the Tengu now in onto this position. Surely, like a new moon onto the tower, for example, wouldn't go astray here. There's so many resources in the bank right now for Mosca as the Tengu onto this side, not having its upgrade really isn't that powerful, but it's still going to get a couple of Vil picks here as the army of Recon taking this fight manages to take everything out actually, and the villagers do have to run, but so too does Mosca. Get caught into a little bit of a difficult position here, pulling back underneath this town center, still not wanting to drop this new moon onto the tower. There finally decides that he's got to do it. As Recon says, I'll just sit in here, but I don't think he should be. The Shogun could make a bail out past this wooden wall, gate, whatever you want to call it. Not choosing to do so. Up onto the top side, the Tengu's still getting damage done over here as the villagers coming back onto the gold mine. And Mosca currently so far in front on score, but look at the difference in military. But does that matter? Does it matter is the question, because Mosca running out of this gold mine, that'll change everything here. There's so many resources in the bank as well for Mosca. I'd love to see one dojo coming down for some samurai as the Miko in healing up the villagers, trying to keep this wall alive, allowing those Yumi horse archers to get some serious damage. Medium samurai coming through as well. It looks like after all is said and done, the Tengu has been dealt with. Onto this left side, stable coming down there as well, as the Shogun will end up falling. So after all is said and done, Mosca has got himself 6 Miko out right now. He's got only one of them gathering favor. He's going to start spreading those out onto favor as he wants to definitely get himself some more myth unit, or potentially start working towards another swampland or something like that. It's the horse archers getting caught out. He loses too. He really cannot afford to lose anything in these moments here, as the pressure continuing to mount with the priest spearman comp from Recon. Absolutely crazy. He's got the resources almost to go to the next age. Builds a couple of slingers, but he's going to be advancing momentarily here through Nephthys. He wants Nephthys because he's got so many priests. He can boost them up with Spirit of Mart. He can boost them up with Nepti to have them be very, very effective against any type of myth unit that Mosca might want to be building. As the horse archers will slowly pull back, Recon will continue to move in and out here. Waiting for this gold mine to expire is basically it, right? Like, that's what Recon is waiting for. He's going to have an Ancestors. He's going to potentially have a Shifting Sands as well. He's got 63 favor in the bank. Of course, you know me, I would rather him build out 2 extra Scorpion men than use that Shifting Sands. But nonetheless, he has it, so he can quickly get up to the top side. He also could start thinking about grabbing this technology here so he can see what's going on up there. Up to the top, we do have the villagers already trying to get walls in there for Mosca to secure a gold mine, as the units are currently spread out. We're starting to see the map getting lit up by obelisks again. Over onto this side, sees this gold mine, sees this one. This one not being spotted is a little bit risky, but I feel like if Recon just got an obelisk in here to see exactly when this gold mine is expired, he could easily send all of his units up to this top side to lock this off, leave this obelisk obviously over here, and maybe another obelisk over onto this side, and then Shifting Sands onto the bottom side when the villagers move over there to inflict some serious damage onto Mosca. The villagers will be up there, and Recon just pulls back. He's not moving up to that top side just yet. Does catch out the Naginata Rider on here. The red units from Mosca now going to be looking for some revenge raids, but the walls are up. There are some units in the back here to help defend. A Scorpion man there would be another perfectly reasonable unit to have for the defense against those types of raids, as these horse archers will Get that shoot and scoot in. Pull back. And Recon now moving up to the top side of the map. We've got 6 Miko on favor here. It's huge. Slinger's turning around. We'll be able to snipe one Horse Archer. That's a perfect answer to these bad boys here as the Spearman, Scorpion Men knocking this position down up onto the top side. Naginata Riders do push onto the Migdol, but not really going to be all too helpful here as the Spearmen will be up. The villagers will be able to get back to work. Recon pushing forward, trying to get in onto this gold mine, but Mosca's actually pulled off the gold mine for now. He's like, I don't want to be there just yet. Spearman dropping, though, as you've got to be so careful with the forward micro, with those infantry units. Otherwise, life gets very, very tough. Spots one Miko up onto the top. Good garrison there from Mosca. Villager over here will end up going down, unfortunately, as the gold mine has been spotted. Nothing over there. Horse Archer's going to continue their shoot and scoot to try and stay in this game. Dropping down to only 3 Miko on favor for the time being has to hurt here. Because I mean, yes, there's a ton of priests, but I feel like the only way to really break through this army is the Tengu. They got 600 HP, and the damage that the priests do is kind of low. It's 3.4 DPS? 3.4 times 5 divine damage. You do the math there, but it does take a while to actually take those out. And that'll allow the rest of his army to actually do something. And he is building them. I don't think he's got the upgrade for them, though. Which is hurting a lot. As the Naginata Riders coming in onto this backside, there is still going to be access to Ancestors here as Heavy comes in. The villagers are up onto the top gold mine, but the Spearmen are up here to harass. Recon is just strangling Mosca, as Mosca looks like he's got very little remaining in this game. Tengu flying up to the top to try and deal with these slingers. The priests are in, but not targeting the Tengu down just yet. 66 pop to 144 pop. The Spearmen up the top do end up falling. Send that one Scorpion Man up there. It can take out all the villagers, basically. Doesn't need to, as Mosca realizes he has fallen way too far behind. Not enough gold income. Save the energy here. Go next. Way too well played by Recon in this first one. I think the fast heroic tactic from Mosca might have worked if he just accepted that he had to drop New Moon on the towers. Because that would have allowed him to just go into his Chariot Archer idea, and he probably wouldn't have had to waste his Swampland on a Shifting Sands thing from Recon, because there's no reason to do that. Shifting Sandsing into these crazy strong 24 pierce damage per second towers onto this gold mine would be an absolute suicide mission. But yeah, I think that was the main mistake here from Mosca. You could see that it was kind of working for him regardless, and he just could not stabilize, though. If he stabilized, I think it made some sense. But nonetheless, well played from Recon for game number 1. He gets his first win. It's first to 3 for this best of 5. So we'll see how he's going to go. Let's jump over to the draft and see what they're going to pick for game number 2. All right, we're going in onto the map Frozen Continent, and it's going to be a Ra versus Thor matchup. Ra versus Thor. Okay, so the first win there did go to the set, and we see another Egyptian from Recon as onto the map Frozen Continent with the Thor. This is such a strange kind of, how do I put this? It's a strange change that we've been seeing. I think if I'm Mosca here and I see the god pool of Recon, I'm like 95% sure it's going to be Ra, and 5% of the time it'll probably be Loki on this map. Because I've got Thor, that's why, right? Recon wants to play Ra versus Thor, but Mosca opts into it. Mosca opts into it, which is kind of crazy if you ask me. I would be expecting a different type of god here to have some success versus Ra. Like Zeus makes some sense. Freya makes some sense. Thor, you kind of, I feel at this point in the tournament, the Thor plan is well and truly understood. Nice fast advance, put pressure on early, and pray that you get some good damage done. It's been shown that Ra can basically say, I'm going to go for fish, and I can be completely fine here against this early pressure by just playing well. And taking like a nice advance time, like a 4:30 advance. Like not too late, obviously not quick at all. And you're completely fine, and then you're playing Ra. And you're enjoying the game. So what I want to see here from Mosca, first and foremost, is a different approach. And I think you can go for a different approach here with Thor. However, we'll have to wait and see what's going to be turning out from this one. Let's get into Frozen Continent and see how it's going to go. And off we go into game number 2. And I said, it's time to do something different. I said it. And guess what's happening? Something different. Love to see it in the right-hand corner of the map playing as Ra. His name is Recon. He's not building a dock. Oh, or he is building a dock? A completely crazy build order from Recon that I've never seen before. But he is building a dock. Recon moves forward. Drops himself the obelisk forward, trying to get some information in. Has not quite confirmed what's coming for him, but maybe he has some sort of inkling elsewhere. Meanwhile, on the side, Mosca's got himself docks. He's not going for the crazy fast advance. He is just playing some stock standard Thor. Now, I do like this from Recon. I gotta say, one thing that I love about Recon is he is he isn't like an economy, like min-maxer. What do I mean by that? Like, Soup is an economy min-maxer. He'll go into the game and he'll be like, what can I do in order to give me the most amount of resources at this moment in the game? That's what Soup loves to do. What Recon loves to do is he says, I am a information min-maxer. Give me everything. I need to know what my opponent's doing. If you gave Recon map hacks, I'm pretty sure he would still play the same. I'm pretty sure he would still play the same. So Recon comes in, he sees the gold mine, he sees exactly what's happening in this main base of Mosca, and I think he now knows with this one, he sees the dock, he knows that he's not up against anything too crazy, and he's going to be able to start sending multiple villagers back to drop multiple docks to get a very, very large fish boom going. So both people are going to have some crazy amounts of economy going for this one. Now, the question is, who does this actually favor? And this is the point that I was trying to bring up early in the draft with this specific matchup in mind for Mosca. If it's a land map, a lot of top players prefer Ra here over Thor. A lot of top players do. But it's a water map, so does things change? I want to see Mosca do a fish boom fast heroic. Of course, I want him to scout and confirm that Recon is actually up to his death ball building ways. But a fast heroic here with Thor allows you an extra 3,000 gold in your main base. You get yourself the extra fish boom. You get yourself the 3,000 gold in your main base. You go straight into Jarls. What better sort of situation could you have being Thor against Ra than that. Recon, on the other hand, is up to his old tricks with Ra. He does decide to go for Bast. This is, I would say, slightly off meta versus Thor. The reason it's off meta versus Thor is most people like to go for Ptah for the slings of the sun, electron bullets kind of combo with their slingers, which is really, really strong versus Norse, because you get a double bonus for your slingers versus their throwing axemen, and it can take them out incredibly quickly, allowing your axemen or spearmen to do the rest of the work. However, Bast means you're probably not going to go for that many slingers. You're probably going to be more aiming to go into chariot archers. So it's not like that. It's not like it's bad. Chariot archers are a really, really good unit, but it's just a different way of going for things. Nonetheless, the Valkyrie is going to be coming through. We've got a priest and a pharaoh in the main base, so no real problems here. However, Mosca's first, second, third, and fourth call here is, how can I get out onto the map and deny docks being built? There's villages off onto both sides here, and there's no easy way. There's no easy way for Recon to protect those villages. Forest Fire comes down over here. Another Sphinx going to be coming in. I want to see the priest getting over here and empowering up those docks and being there to defend those villages, because that's got to be what Mosca's thinking. He's getting more Hersir out. He's getting more docks up. The dock situation is 5 docks for Mosca to 5 docks for Recon, as he's also going to be grabbing himself the per scene technology. But nonetheless, Sphinx now popping off onto this position, and the big question here is, can Recon afford to keep building fishing ships and get himself the Cryo Sphinx technology? He's getting barracks, he's making spearmen, makes sense. Again, I still think the best play here for Mosca is some sort of fast heroic. He doesn't have to go through Bragi, he can go for Skadi. That way he can play around any type of death ball. And the way that Recon's playing this, I love the idea of just making nothing but Hersir and getting a really nice heroic age in, and then going into Jarl and going into throwing axemen and having all the time in the world here to do whatever you want. He's choosing Bragi, which is fine, but you know, the Skadi is probably a more safe option because now we have Frost for Eclipse. But nonetheless, the Sphinx coming over here, going to start bashing down the dock of Mosca. And these Sphinx do hit pretty hard here. They're doing 9 crush, 6.9 crush per second, but 9 crush per attack. And that will take down the docks relatively quickly, as this lone Berserk is going to sneak up here to try and get up another dock here. Valkyrie is going to come over onto this side. The Hersir getting called in, but the Sphinx will be able to run away from those, no problems, as more units are slowly getting built up. But here's the thing, as Raki, you just have to accept now that the Thor player is going to have a 3,000 gold mine in their main base. It's not only just 3,000 gold, by the way. It also has, like, I think it's a 20% bonus? 25%? 25% bonus on the gold gather rate. Yeah. So they're already at 0.98. Add 25%. So they are just dominating that gold mine. So it's a huge resource boost as well. But nonetheless, Mosca has gotten away with what he wants. He is behind on military to a small degree. He's got himself a battle ball out now. But he's going to be able to get himself the armory upgrades, to get himself some extra dwarves. He's going to be getting himself them out faster as well. As you advance, you get more stuff. And we are going to be seeing now, Recon says, hang on, I can't just sit back and allow you to get off another fast heroic, just like last game. Very different situation here, though, for Mosca, as he's in the heroic age. His units aren't here, though. They're all spread out around the map. Watchtowers does come through as the temple getting targeted down. I don't understand this dwarven mine in the slightest. Underneath the town center makes the most sense there, as the spearmen, axemen poking forward. Hersir do manage to get one slap in onto the Hierarchy Sphinx, but will pull back and slowly denying pressure here for the moment. More houses to come down. Realistically, throwing axemen are needed. This wood line getting chopped down very quickly is going to become another weakness here for Mosca to have to deal with. Goaty coming in. Jarl's coming through. A heroic age from Recon probably makes the most sense here, rather than going full spam. Reason why is he gets access to Locust. Now, normally, again, I would say the sort of meta play is Star segment in this matchup, but going Bast is probably better to go for Bast and Sobek. The big thing with Sobek is you're going to be able to click Locust on top of their units. Gives you a combative god power to deal with the flaming weapons. Then you tie that in with Eclipse and you're good to go. Meanwhile, the Spearmen swinging around onto the bottom side. Not really finding a whole lot of stuff to attack here. And I can only praise Mosca for his building positioning right now. Look at the houses. Look at the Great Hall. It's all looking absolutely beautiful as this base is nigh untouchable. Though the villagers will bail out on this spot. Maybe up onto this top wood line could be the angle. But then you're putting all your villagers very, very close together to get hit by a locust. And they might... You can get pretty unlucky with that sort of a situation as well. Though Jarl throwing axemen are in. This army here for Mosca has to be scary for Recon to be watching. Recon here is still pumping Spearmen, still pumping Sphinx. He's not going to this next age as the throw and axemen control here from Mosca for the moment is on point. He does not need to take a fight. Just keep on massing units up. The point at which Mosca's army will win against Recon's is when he's equal. He needs an equal amount of units, which he does not have, but he will have it very, very shortly. The throwing axeman numbers slowly picking up. A longhouse on the front to come down. Obelisk almost getting sniped there from those throwing axemen as well. There he is. Yeah, there is another 3K gold mine available here for Mosca as well, if he wants to go for it. He could go for Battle Ball, but like, why would you want to leave your base here? If all we need to do is sort of sit back and wait, we're good to go. We could go for that extra Dwarven gold mine, get up to heavy infantry, heavy cavalry. That being said, Recon is going to be hitting Sobek. Recon is going to be hitting Sobek. I actually would really like to see a Migdol stronghold on this front position here as the army moves in. You see the Sphinx going to be taking out a longhouse here as the Herser are called over to try and deal with this. Town Center actually is the god, not the god of choice, the decision for Recon as he's not paying attention. He drops one Sphinx there. Not ideal. Realistically, these Herser should never touch a Sphinx unless the Sphinx decide they want to be attacking. But a town center up for Recon. I actually don't know how much I like that decision from Recon. He does enjoy these sorts of decisions because it gives him the way to sort of play and he can inflict the most amount of pressure onto his opponent. However, a Migdol stronghold and a quick Mythic Age here from Recon would be devastating for Mosca to deal with. As the Spearmen spreading out, charging onto this position. There's nothing over here for Recon to defend. Mosca can attack this. He sees the Spearman here. He sees the Spearman here. He sees the Spearman here. Why run? A town center going down at the moment would be brutal as a hill fort in the middle of the map now coming up. Recon making a very, very poor move with his army. He's now deciding, oop, I better pull back. But now there's going to be a hill fort up in his face. So you click Eclipse, I can just garrison my throwing axeman. There's no way for you to get your Sphinx onto there. And to add insult to injury, now Mosca says, give me the town center. Give me the town center. The villagers are going to be pulling away up here. Recon makes a crazy move here with his villagers. The Herser in. This town center actually going to get taken. The question is, will Mosca see this or not? And the answer is a resounding of course he'll see it. He noticed the villagers going that way. However, the Haruko Sphinx is on the way. A rock coming in to maybe pick up these villagers and keep them alive. I like that move. The Sphinx will be able to pull through at the very least and take out that Valkyrie. However, into the main base up here, we're seeing portable rams out from Mosca. He sees the opportunity to walk in here and take the main town center out. Recon is refusing at the moment to take any fights. And he's just going to lose his base. He is just going to lose his base. The army pulling back. Recon, there is an opportunity here to take a fight at the very least under some watchtower fire. He's got himself the Petsukos on the back. There will be a flaming weapons, however. But the question here is actually, do you even want to do it? As the Locust Swarm comes through, those throwing axemen are left with half HP. The spearmen coming in to try and deal with everything. Recon needs to absolutely eviscerate this army. The Eclipse gets dropped. He's going to chase down those throwing axemen. They will all go down up onto this side. However, the villagers are going down as well. The differential in villagers is 54 to 32. Even if Mosca loses all of his throwing axemen, which he will, I thought he will. He's not. It's not. He actually manages to get 3 back to safety. Even if he loses everything here, his economic advantage is through the roof. Villagers over here going down. The portable ram is in to take out the town center as well. 3 villagers are there. He could potentially pop them out, but Recon now charging forward. His army is gigantic. He's got 10 seconds left of Eclipse. However, look at the queue for Mosca. He is simply put just going to have an army. He's still got flaming weapons as well. But for whatever reason, Mosca just says, do I need to click it? You can't actually fight me here. Why would I click flaming weapons if you're just going to run? Now the spearman going after the town center. Recon needs to get some villager kills in. He's just not able to do so. Throwing axeman charging in. Still no flaming weapons, but again, he doesn't even need to. Now he's choosing to finish off those myth units as the throwing axeman will be able to clean up the rest of these spearmen, and Mosca's score is so far in front of Recon's that Recon's going to look up there and just go, I got no army, I got no villagers, I got no hope. And Mosca plays an incredible game of Thor here on this water map. What a defensive and offensive masterpiece here from Mosca. The fast heroic was on point. Double Dwarven Mine in his main base. The building positioning to prevent Recon from getting any value out of his early game units. I can't even speak because it was this good. The decision to just walk forward and not bother with the raids that Recon was going for and just says, I got faith in my building positioning. I got faith in my watchtowers. I got faith in my defensive ability to just keep my villagers alive. Recon, you got a town center here with nothing there to defend it. You got your gold mine there with nothing to defend it. You got your villagers spread out all over the place. I'll just kill it. And he kills everything. He kills the base. He kills this thing. He loses some units as the army comes back, but it was already too little too late there for Recon. And Mosca strikes back as we have ourselves a series. I told you this was going to slap. I did not quite expect to be already 2 games done with only 40 minutes currently played in this series. But nonetheless, that's where we're at. These guys are not holding anything for granted at the moment. They're not pulling their punches here. They're going right for it. Let's see what they're going to pick for game number 3. Jump over to the drafting menu and check it out. All right, we are going to be going in onto the map Hideout. And I see the gods, and I can only grin here. I can only grin at the gods. I can only grin at the gods. Alrighty. So, our next map, as the Thor does win that one, our next map is going to be Hideout. And it's going to be an Odin versus Freyr affair. A matchup that, I gotta be honest, I don't think that Recon's played this matchup at all. I don't think he's played it once. Okay. I could be wrong on this. Hear me out. Forest fired the middle. And then Mosca can use an aggressive Golem Bursty. Mosca can use an aggressive Golem Bursty. That might be the... It's a very simple idea for Mosca. Very, very simple. On the flip side for Recon, I think the plan here for Odin is twofold. Either A, we lock our opponent in their base and we rush them, right? We put an aggressive temple, we advance really, really fast, put some pressure on, we undermine their towers and maybe try and push off their gold mine, put some pressure on there and all that other good stuff, right? But that doesn't really work versus Freyr. I have literally no idea what's going to happen in this game because of all of the madness. Will Mosca go... Man, there's so many options. Will he even go Freya? Like, Ulla makes perfect sense here as well. Because then you can just use the hill fort. You can slowly expand. Take the game as late as you possibly can here. That, like, the general game plan for Freya in nearly every single matchup is, let's just play. We're not going to try and kill them. Let's just get to the Mythic Age. Get yourself all your upgrades, and once you get all your upgrades in, your army is unkillable. That's the general plan. Spam as many hill forts as you possibly can. Try not to fight too much, and just play as slow as you possibly can. I guess the other option here for Recon is to play a Heimdall Boom, but that it does leave him subject to the Freya all in as well. So, if I was Recon in this game, if I was Mosca in this game, it would be very, very hard for me to pick a strategy because there's so many different options that all feel and sound great. Unless you're practiced on this, tough. Absolutely tough. Alrighty. So, but I can't. There's matchups that you just know that you're going to see. Like, you're probably going to see a Thor or a Ra on Frozen content. You're probably going to see like an Amaterasu on Socotra. You're probably going to see a Hades on Budapest, right? Like, these gods are starting to pop up more and more and more. Hideout? You think you're going to see a Freya here? You think you're seeing an Odin here? Like, you could see anything. This map hasn't really shown itself all too much. Recon has been picking the map quite a bit, though. So maybe he is prepared. We're going to have to wait and see. Let's jump into Hideout. This is going to be a wild one. Strap in, and let's check it out. And off to the races we go, left hand of the map. It is Recon, and he does decide to do some herding shenanigans early on. He's not going for the soup build order, however. Might be trying to do something a little bit more spicy. Who knows? On the other side of the map, we're going to see Mosca opening incredibly normally here. Incredibly normally. Now, of course, Mosca... Can we take a look at this? If I burn this forest down and click Gullenbursty here, I still have, I don't know, 10, 20 seconds to run across here before we're starting to get involved in anything. And in the classical age, you only get like a 40-second Gullenbursty or a 30-second Gullenburst. I can't remember. In the heroic age, it gets very, very, very long. Actually, let's have a look. No, I can't tell you. It does get very, very, very long as you advance. As we see more villagers now popping over onto this gold mine. It does look like Recon is doing something. He is up to no good. In other words, he is up to no good. He's building villages only. Here's Berserk over onto this spot. We're going to move up and around. I mean, it just has to be a fast advance from Recon, but how far is he going to be able to get this Berserk around to build his temple? He says right here, he might be just going for a fast second town center. He might be just going for the fast second town. On the flip side, if you go Heimdall here as Odin, and Mosca goes Ulla, you basically cut out the hill fort because Undermine can kill the hill fort. So Recon's got to know that, first and foremost. He's going to be advancing here. It's a little bit of a later advance than I would have expected from him, considering the way that he's gone for this build order. Did he get himself a pickaxe? No. He has to get himself a ox cart out pretty quickly here as well, as the Hersa are going to be spamming out, and Mosca has also put his temple out in the middle of the map here. There you go. There's a 10-second difference between the archaic, classical, heroic, and mythic age, apparently. Apparently. Wow. Mosca is just like not... He just says... I can't believe he put the temple here, though. Will Recon spot it? He's scouting. He wants to see. He wants to know what's going on. He sees this position. He hasn't seen a temple just yet. We see Freya as the god of choice here for Mosca. I like the decision. Ulla is much, much worse versus Heimdall than much worse versus Heimdall than versus Freya. So like going Freya does make some sense. But yeah, Recon going after the temple here. Now, you often see Soup, when he goes for these types of Odin rushes, actually dropping the Undermine onto this position here. Now, it doesn't... I think it does something like 600 damage. So, he can easily kill this off with the Undermine hitting the entirety of the temple. And he might not even need to, though, because Mosca is just so late to the classical age. On the other side of things, a Valkyrie running very quickly into the main base of Recon, he needs to send a Hersa back here to defend. This is the ultimate counter to any type of forward temple play, as another Hersa coming out. We see a little ghost building coming through there as Mosca will try to get his Hersa back to safety, but almost losing. I think he will. No, he doesn't end up losing the Hersa, but almost does. This Valkyrie slowly making its way around here. Recon not reacting. He's got to send a Hersa back to his main base because there's no way to deal with this Valkyrie otherwise. The temple for Mosca will fall here as a Great Hall comes down. Oh, he's going up. He could drop the undermine here as well if he wants to, but opting to not do so. As we've also got safeguard coming through for recon. He might be thinking about dropping a town center behind this as the forest fire will come through to Hersa, making their way back in. The villagers will have to all idle while those Hersa are taking their sweet time to get back in here. Meanwhile, the slow march of the monkeys also coming through is going to be somewhat scary for Mosca as well. Going to lose a tower as well. I can't... Every single one of these games has just been aggression after aggression after aggression. These guys don't want to play a slow game. Valkyrie are going to continue to run around onto this side. Undermine getting dropped down onto this position. They're taking out the tower. There's going to be throwing axemen coming through soon, which will be somewhat enough to deal with all this. The Ironry blows that big fat horn of his, takes out 2 houses, and now he can turn around and take these units out without all too much problems, with no reinforcements really going to be able to come through. But with a couple of throwing axemen in, Recon does realize he better pull out of here. He keeps his Hersa alive, which is huge. With the Odin regeneration bonus there, he's going to be able to get that one back up to full HP. The Valkyrie, on the other hand, I don't know if it was... I'd be surprised if it was killed off, but it is sitting over onto this side as Mosca is going to be retreating that back home. Can heal up. And after all is said and done, Recon got damage done, but there's a long way to go here. And the big question is Recon going to go... He did buy a safeguard. Is Recon going to go for a town center here? But there's so many units in. Can't really just drop... You probably... If you could get it up in time, you could drop a town center there, but maybe the better call is to come over here. You can throw walls up all over the place. The other thing about this is there is the option to go up to 125 favor at some point in this game, whenever you're feeling comfortable as Mosca, and just burn this forest down, and then he can go. That's always an option. There's Recon getting himself his units out. He does have one little cheeky herdman in here. In this temple as well, there's the Ironry and a Hersa. So he can pop out at any point here and surprise Mosca. Of course, he needs to prevent the temple from dying. He does not want to be losing this one here, as the units will pull back. Recon not popping his Ironry out just yet, though. Now he does, as they both pull in, and that's going to be some speedy units to chase this down. However, the wall is up, and the army will get away. 23 HP. Recon keeps it alive for just a little bit longer. Is he going to repair it? Yes, he does. Of course he does. A very, very tense game to continue here. As the Ravens just flying around, getting that scouting information in. Longhouses, Great Halls coming down for Mosca. I mean, do you really want to wait for your forest fire, though, is the big question. Would it not be better to make Valkyrie get your technologies in? Surely. Recon still not grabbing himself these big technologies. The big technology for Heimdall, and the thing that basically makes everything work, is Riksdula. He hasn't pre-queued it. He has the favor for it. It's the big technology. It literally makes everything work. The only reason not to grab that technology is if you've got something way more important to pick up, like a town center or a specific upgrade. But at the moment, grabbing medium infantry instead of going for Riksdula is something that I cannot agree with. I can't wrap my head around that one. Definitely have to pick up this one. But nonetheless, the dwarves making their way over onto the gold mine. Great Hunt going to come down onto the bottom side here for a second time. You can see he's used that a second time. 30 favor. Normally it's 25 favor on that recast. So he's getting just a little bit more food in. Always nice. Now, if you... I've thought about this a little bit. If you actually do want to use your Great Hunt a second time, using it in the heroic age is your best bet. You get a huge boost of food there in the heroic age. Of course, Recon doesn't have that type of luxury, and he wants to just keep himself nice and safe over here. But still no Rick Stuhler in. I'm not happy about this. There should be a massive villager lead starting to build here for Recon, which gives him an advantage versus the Frere, who is going to be able to circumvent that advantage by just getting himself cheaper upgrades in. As the raiding cavalry swing around this side, the walls are up, so this is very risky. I think there's a world here where you can almost wall these units all in. If you split up, wall this off, come in on this side. You see the herdman coming around this side over here. Ursa up onto the top side. The walls will come through. Can Recon finish this? Is the question. Answer is he does get them up, but the raiding cavalry hitting on this position over onto the bottom side now as the ironry blow their horns to chase these down, and Mosca has been caught in a massive trap here as he can only run around in circles. That's the only option. I don't think he can get out of here. He's going to lose all of his raiding cavalry. A huge move from Recon. And this should allow him now to drop a town center or do whatever he really wants to. We see more units now coming over here, going to try and bash down the wooden gate as these raiding cavalry are going to continue to attempt to break out of here. Herdmen do catch them out there as they all will fall over onto this side now. Mosca feels like he needs to break the wall to get his army out of there, but it's already dead. Absolutely huge for Recon. That's a massive, massive advantage. And I just want to bring it up. This is why raiding is dangerous. You can do this with any civ. Leave little gaps for your opponent to think they can sneak through and then just shut it off. They want to try and do some crazy raids. You can easily punish them. And now it's just a massive advantage for Recon. As Mosca breaking the walls down. He's going to come through. I don't think he's got the army to win this. The fact of the matter is the ironry are insanely strong. Great control here from Recon, pulling back, getting some good damage off. Didn't actually kill anything, but just little bits of damage before the fight starts as the temple is yet again getting targeted down here. Skadi is coming through for Recon. He still doesn't have Rig's Dula. There is zero reason to go heroic age before getting yourself Rig's Dula because it pays for itself in the fact that you get zero idle time in your town center for grabbing it. Market goes down. Temple goes down. Lots of relics here to pick up. He also had Rhea's Crown here for the cheaper town centers. Wild. Absolutely wild. Armory's coming down for Recon. Here's the thing though. Mosca, if he takes this town center, he gets access to Gulumbursty and Tempest as an aggressive move here. Not only that, I really don't like the Skadi pick here from... actually, no, never mind. Skadi makes some sense because you can frost the Gulumbursty. You can frost the Gulumbursty, it's fine. Does make sense. That being said, Njord is the better call here 9 times out of 10 against Freya. Not going to explain why. It just is. Nonetheless, we will be seeing an attempt at a little raid coming in up to this position. Over here, the wall's going to be going down. We've got ourselves Winter Harvest. All the big upgrades coming through. Heavy Infantry, Shaft Mine. Winter Harvest does boost up food a crazy amount. You get 10% extra food on everything. 20% on farms. And Recon is just sacrificing buildings here. This is a very choky position. Throw an Axeman, sniping one raiding cavalry, pulling back into his choke point over here. As, I mean, his town center is up over onto the back. No problems. Raiding cavalry going down. This giant will frost I don't know what else to say. As Recon now says, it's time to come in. His Heinery are actually in the right spot. You have to use the horn manually, exactly like that. And he does get those mini boosts, which are huge, but effectively, you need to go into Yowls here on both sides. That's the important unit at the moment. As the army charging forward, Gul and Bursty onto the back here. Frost will get called down. But now Tempest is on the cards. You got to kill the town center. Use Undermine, kill the town center. All the army is frosted. Undermine the town. There we go. He's now moving forward. He realizes that's the move. A couple of units will be out, but picking off those units is perfectly fine. Still plenty of time remaining as the Undermine will come through. And Mosca, he has to now drop the Tempest. But would you stay here? Inside the Tempest? I don't know if you do, because you get frozen yourself by the end of this Tempest. He takes the town center down. A couple of units will be cleaned up as the Frost of Recon finishes. And Mosca pops out. He's going to be able to kill off the Frost Giant, a couple of Ironry, a couple of straggler units. Over on this side, however, Recon will manage to pick off a Valkyrie or two. Militarily speaking, Mosca is in the lead. Villagers as well. However, onto this side, little bits of raids coming through from Recon as he's trying to make this happen, but Mosca is defending this perfectly. Rock Giants now starting to mass up. Town Center coming back up for Mosca. And Recon does actually have Rickstula now, so it's like he's on 2.4 town centers. So he's very much going to be coming into his own here. As the Goaty numbers starting to come through. We see more Jarls coming through as well. It's the Rock Giant. A great answer for the Rock Giant is actually going to be the Einherry. Einherry gets some nice damage onto that Rock Giant because he does crush damage. Anything that does crush damage is a unit you want to use versus the Rock Giant. Of course, Goaty are also an option, but the Rock Giant does have 75% Pierce. As Mosca doing the garrison business here, but he's losing units left, right, and center as the town center does look like it is going to be falling. And Mosca needs to bail out on this spot. The Rock Giant's coming in, but too little, too late. Town center will fall for a second time, and Mosca has to pull back and regroup, rethink. Units pulling over here to take down this wall. As Recon drops a market. He can buy some wood if he wants to. He can buy some food here as well. There is some berries, or are some berries. There's some aurochs on this side there too. The villagers on this bottom side just hiding out. Lots of goats down the bottom there as well. But the town center for Recon will be coming in. I'd love to see this wall getting fixed back up, but Mosca just sneaking through to find a couple of axes to the face. But now Mosca is going to be staring down a 3-1 town center situation with 0 god powers and a very, very difficult time ahead of him. He's getting his armory upgrades, but Recon can easily buy his own here too. Potentially a nice mythic age wouldn't be a terrible idea. Nice find on this bottom side, though, from Mosca. He does spot the villagers as they get turned all into berserks to deal with this. He'll take out the other Jarl. I'd love to see him come up and deny this town center as a very smart move from Mosca to pull away from this. These berserks don't have themselves the Hamas technology, so they're not going to be able to do a whole lot there as Recon now charging forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Rock Giants here for Mosca. Recon could deal with these with Frost Giants. You can get out 5 Frost Giants here, but without them, I think this is going to be a tough fight to be winning, so long as Mosca is going to be microing this, and I think he is. I think he is microing it. He's got the special attack off, using it only when he needs to. He does deny the town center, though. That's huge. Granite Moor coming through as well. With Granite Moor, that gives him the siege capabilities here to actually break through. One Rock Giant does end up falling, however. There's just not enough stuff here for Mosca. charging forward. You have to basically run the rock giants right in onto the throw and action. And you can see how scared Recon is here as there goes the stun, or the taunt, I should say, which gives a huge amount of time over to his own throwing axeman to deal with this. But the other rock giants just not there. We see some Jarls to come in. They're going to be a big tanking support for this front as the rock giant comes in yet again. Like I said, you don't right click on the throw and action. You got to right click behind the army, get into the middle, and then drop the stun, or the taunt, I should say. But Recon has just built a huge advantage out of such a tiny little bit early on. That pick of those raiding cavalry has just opened this game up from Recon, and he's just been playing perfectly since that moment. A fourth town center for Recon. This town center coming up as the villagers are going to be building some farms there as well. And Recon just continues to control his throwing axeman absolutely beautifully. Another great hall coming down. Another longhouse. Market for Mosca on the back there going up. I see Vidar pre-queued, but he's not close there. Farms coming up for everyone. You have to also remember that Recon's farm villages, he's got himself irrigation, but look at that food gather rate. 0.88 compared over to 0.76 for Mosca. We will see Balder here from Recon. I like it. I think Balder makes perfect sense here. I think Balder makes perfect sense. Reason being is this gold mine expiring, and we just charge through with our villagers into lock off this gold mine, and you just win because your opponent can't get any gold. Makes a lot of sense. Lots and lots of favor in the bank for a huge amount of fire giants as well. Could be the other angle to go for. As the Bergrizi does get in onto that back line, but it just doesn't matter because Mosca doesn't have any stuff. He needs stuff. More Jarls coming through. Hill Fort. 8 seconds from completion here, but there's already the Hill Fort up for Recon, so there's not really any reason to just run away. Even if it's completed. Of course, the Freya Hill Fort does get 10% extra damage, so that's always nice. Doesn't it? I thought it did. Was it not? Am I crazy? I think I'm crazy. I swear Freya had a bonus on his... Is it just armory difference? It is. It's armory difference. There you go. Ha! Take that. Take that. Hill Fort does get a 10% boost. Get wrecked, Twitch chat. All right. But there's just, I mean, like I said, there's 7k military resource value for Recon here, and Mosca will end up tapping out. Just a amazing display of patience from Recon in this game. The defensive move to catch those raiding cavalry out. Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. One thing here for everyone to take away is in these sorts of positions, you got to build that perpendicular wall. We're bringing it back. Always perpendicular wall on these choke points. Of course, you could wall it off yourself and also build the perpendicular wall there, but it's a really nice way to play around those sorts of situations. Other alternatives is when you run forward, leave a unit or two on the choke points so that you don't get walled in afterwards. But yeah, Recon just playing the atheist game here, not really building any myth units past the classical age. Of course, I think he would have won much faster if he built Frost Giants, but he was able to make it work because he had such a ridiculous advantage. I'm sticking to that forever and ever and ever. Nonetheless, let's jump back over to the draft and see what we are going to see. Whoops. That was the wrong button. Hit the wrong button. Let's try that again. Alrighty. Next game. We've got ourselves Recon on 2, Mosca on 1. So far, it's been a pound for pound smack for both players. So Mosca must hit back here. Of course, if he doesn't hit back here and he allows Recon to smack him again, then, well, the series is over and Mosca's tournament run is done. That's the thing. So we got ourselves a Frozen Waste game. And we got ourselves a very spicy, tough matchup. Everyone out there ready to say Egyptian OP or Japan OP? It doesn't matter. They're both playing the OP gods. We got Amaterasu, we got Isis. Well, there you go. That's the story. That's what we've got going here. So, potentially one last game here for Mosca. He's had an amazing run in this tournament. Both of these players I would have expected. Both of these players I would have expected to still be in the winners bracket right now. Actually, no, one of them would have had to have dropped, right? But I would have expected these guys to have basically made it into the finals. But they're both in the losers bracket, which is wild to me. So one of them has to leave the tournament today. The other one gets to play again today and potentially leave the tournament again. So there's a lot going on. However, Isis versus Amaterasu is an amazing matchup. Very, very difficult. I don't actually know the best way here for Isis to play this. But let me tell you the best way for Amaterasu to play this. One town center, Tengu, and everything else. As many Tengu as we possibly can get. That's the game plan against Isis. Why? Because the priests can't move. They're so slow. They're incredibly slow. That's my take on this matchup. Play Tengu, pick villages, pick army, cause issues, get to your second town center eventually and play the game. That's my take. Apparently Eggy is not OP according to Ramains. Look, it's not Egyptian, it's Isis. Actually, I mean, everything's OP, everything's busted, therefore it's all balanced. That's the mantra of Age Mythology, right? That's the mantra. For everyone playing along at home, is there a head-to-head that you guys are interested in seeing? Do you want to see some stats? Is there a head-to-head? Of course, it has to be tournament players. Anyone? Anyone in the chat? Come on. Work with me here, guys. We got to fill some time. Grass Matador. Okay. Let's check it out. Let's check out Grass Matador. There you go. A 1-to-1 for Grass and Matador. So that's all you get. Is that Hell's Nah, I can't do Hells, I don't think. All right, back to this. Back to this. That was fun though, right? That was fun though, right? Come on, guys. That was fun though. Super Recon could be interesting. So do I read YouTube chat? I mean, I don't really read chat while I'm doing this normally, so it is what it is. Now, okay, so what am I talking about? Brain on, function. Let's check the bracket out here while we're waiting, because we can talk about this. We've got ourselves just a little bit of time. If Recon wins this series, he will have to go up against either Soup or Grass today. So those are the two potential matchups we might see. If Recon wins. If Mosca wins, then obviously it's going to be Mosca versus those two. Obviously. I don't know what else to say. All right, guys. Frozen Waste, Isis versus Amaterasu. Recon has been he's 1 for 1 with his Egyptians in this series. Can he make it 2 for 1, or is it going to be 1 for 2? Mosca has to win this one or his tournament run is over. Let's jump into it. Frozen Waste is the map and see what's going to happen. And off to the races we go. In the top left-hand corner of the map, we have ourselves Recon. He is currently up 2 to 1 here as Mosca is fighting for his life. One last game for him potentially here. Mosca is going to be running with his Amaterasu. The map is Frozen Wastes. So, my plan for Mosca to take Recon out here is some one town center, Ame no Uzume play. None of this Minakata Tomi, one Yudo shenanigans. None of that. We're moving on from that. We're going back to our roots. Ame no Uzume, early pressure with the weasels. You build 2. That's all you need. You put the Goshin Boku tree. You put pressure on. Happy days. Don't use the solar shield on those weasels, unless it's like a guaranteed like kill, right? If you get a guaranteed kill, of course it's worth it to solar shield there. Okay. Then we obviously build a couple of units, look for some pressure, deny any type of map control or map vision that Recon's got. If Recon plays 1 talent center, happy days. We play 1 talent center with Ame no Uzume in the classical age. It looks really good versus the Isis. The Isis goes 2 talent center. Now we're looking to get to the heroic age for Tengu. Tengu on this map sound amazing. They sound so good. How could you not want to go for Tengu? Look at the map. You just run around the outside. There's no ways to protect your gold mine. You have to put a Migdol in. The Tengu fly in. You dive into the Migdol, and then the Tengu just kills the Migdol. Unless you have priests there, obviously. In which case, if the priests are there, then we go into the main base and we do the same thing there. You can't put walls. Walls, you just jump over the walls. Walls don't work against Tengu. So that's my call here for Mosca. We'll see how wrong I am. Okay, pick Minakata Tomi. He's silly. This is just wrong. There's no way this is right. Not only is Minakata Tomi wrong, but you also miss out on Gohei once. Okay, it's fine. This is the hashtag current meta at the moment, and obviously I'm wrong. I've never been right here before, but when playing against Minakata Tomi, the most important thing here for the Isis is to make sure you have your priests out. You have to make sure you have your priests out. If you don't have your priests out, then you get into a lot of trouble. Recon now moving over onto the gold mine. Anubis is coming through. It's a late Anubis. It's a very fast Minakata Tomi, but there's no pressure that you can put on with this God. You can't send the one Udo forward. Takes a while to get yourself your first stable out, etc., etc., etc. As we do see the shrine coming up over onto this side, this is going to be the Shrine of the Hunt, I have to imagine, which does allow those villagers to immediately drop their food in to the Shrine of the Hunt there. And on top of that, grab himself this extra food bonus, his saltwater springs, as soon as he wants. As the prosperity is coming through, and it's a stable immediately from Mosca. Will Recon just go for a town center? It's pretty good. He's got walrus that he can eat underneath it. He's got a gold mine behind it. No. There's no naked town centers for Recon. He doesn't like... Oh. It could be. He's just going to sit here and mine. Hang out. Waiting for the Kitsune to go elsewhere. Now he pulls off. And he's walking forward. This is the town center he wants. It's not nearly as good as the town center on the left. The Kitsune does spot the villagers. And the Naginata rider says, I know this town center is amazing. Let me deny it. But Mosca misses the fact that Recon is on the right side. The Naginata rider coming over here. You do also have to remember there is access to Solar Shield. Where's the one Udor, though? Another Anubite to come through. Going to be looking to get a little bit of pressure over here as the priest can heal up the Pharaoh. And really should do so as this Naginata rider almost down. Another priest going to come in to heal up everything too. And Mosca is out of here. So, like I said, this town center is pretty bare bones. Yes, there's a gold mine behind it, but it's quite far away. There's no food nearby. So he's on chickens, he's on berries, he's got some goats he could potentially move over onto this side if he wants to. And Mosca just says, I'm going to play town center here myself. And I'm not only that, I'm going to pick the town center that's right in front of yours as the Anubites will slowly start to move over here. We have a one Udor, we have a Naginata rider, and Mosca gets away with it to some degree as the Anubites don't choose to go there. They're going elsewhere. He does actually see the town center going up, but realistically, I think he would have lost a villager or two if Recon decided to attack that. But instead, going for the main base, potential to hit this gold mine over here as Mosca will see the Anubites slightly as they come around this side. Whether or not he was staring at the minimap there and saw the blue veil of colors on his minimap remains to be seen. As Recon now pops in onto this side, we've got the Naginata riders coming forward. Spearmen starting to come through as well. More spearmen will be needed though, as the Naginata riders are going to be hitting this. But while that goes on into the main base here, the villagers will be pulled back up onto this top side. Recon does manage to get onto the Pharaoh, immediately pulling the Pharaoh back to the town center, keeps that one safe. And the priest is in for some healing here as well. You've got to heal the villager though. One villager down. Another villager going to be going down here as well, as these raids from Mosca are starting to look pretty brutal. Villager will be able to stay alive here with the healing. Does it keep it alive? Trying to do so. It does end up going down. But will a Naginata rider go down? Yes. The trade of one villager for a Naginata rider is always good. While this is going on, the harassment onto this side will take out a one Udor there. Nice little attack. Villager differential is 30 to 28 though. Plus there's Mikos, so it's kind of equal. There's more priests coming in. Villagers now. Where are they going? Onto the hunt over here. That's why Recon is building these spearmen, because he knows he needs to get over here. But the thing is, what Mosca wants more than anything should be to be building samurai here. And he now drops a dojo. And what Recon wants more than anything here should be to get to the heroic age for chariot archers. However, given the way the map is at the moment for Recon, he needs to be on this hunt. So he needs to build units to protect it. But also, he's able to put some incredible pressure on here, charging underneath this town center. as Mosca is just having to face tank it to some degree. The delay of building Samurai has really hurt him as the Solar Shield comes down to keep the Naginata Rider alive. Town Center is going to be picking off those low HP Spearmen as they're slowly falling. Villagers on this wood line do need to pull back. Does he lose another Spearman? He does lose another Spearman. Lots of low HP. But two dying to one arrow there. Huge from Mosca as he manages a nice trade back there. But behind this, you see the food starting to creep up. You see the gold already at 500. It's very clear to me that Recon is going Heroic Age, and that's what he needs. He needs the Heroic Age. Samurai starting to come in for Mosca. This is scary, or it should be scary for Recon. He can't really deal with the Samurai in the Classical Age. Trying to poke down the Miko over here. Nice control from Mosca. Gets as much damage as he possibly can as he pulls back. I think Mosca actually should be looking to attack here, but he doesn't know that he should. Of course, I know because I can see it, but look at Recon's military. Equal. Whenever you're equal here, you don't want to fight. Recon's going Heroic Age, and now Mosca, his Spidey senses are tingling as he says, let's move forward, but he's very, very careful with it. Villagers on this side have been exposed. We see Plague of Serpents forced. That's fine there for Mosca. He's going to pull back. Shouldn't lose all too much. Turns around, gets another little shot off, picking units off little by little, though one Naginata Rider gets sniped there as well. And Mosca continuing to take this fight. I don't believe this is a good fight here for Recon as the first tier of Bushido will come through. We've got the Solar Shield onto one of those Samurai there as the On the Musha over onto this bottom side. Not going to go down anytime soon. And Recon taking this fight is really, really dodgy here as the Ancestors will be dropped down, but you can just run. Mosca got what he wanted. He got Bushido in. He can just run. He can just garrison. He's got the on the Musha here, though he can't use the Solar Shield on it. If he heals that one up, it's going to be quite nice, though it does end up falling. We see some Bushi and an On the Musha in queue, though, as Mosca will need to play defense for just a little bit. Probably overstayed his welcome a little bit too much instead of just garrisoning, and there was no problems with just running and saying, great, Ancestors off the menu. Nonetheless, Recon behind this, he can start thinking about dropping himself a Migdol Stronghold or something like that. But Mosca, I mean, he should be fine here, right? So long as there's not mass chariot archers and siege towers pushing in, he should be fine. Over onto this left side, however, the villagers on this food have been spotted. We do have the upgrade survival equipment in, as the villagers will immediately turn, and they do manage to catch out the Naginata Rider here, though it would be well worth it to just send one in and use the Solar Shield there to just actually take out some villagers, but still, he decides to pull back instead, potentially send more units up there and actually hit this. Recon might decide to try and deal with this with building some spearmen and sending them over here, but he should just pull those villagers back. Charging onto this position now, trying to take down these houses and knock off of this gold mine. A good idea, but the Bushi and the Yumi archers enough to send those spearmen packing for the time being, as we do have a Migdol Stronghold now coming up for Recon. Kind of safely positioned. I would have liked it right on this wood line. Secure the gold mine, secure the wood line, and all the other good stuff. There's the spearmen searching around onto this side. Another move here, which would be brutal for Recon here, is to wander in and drop a Migdol here. Right here would push off this gold mine. And then Mosca needs to move over onto this position or build one Udor to try and deal with that. Monument to the soldiers up onto the front. Siege works coming through. The spearmen are in position to defend these raids for the time being, as they're just trying to push up to the top there, but getting deflected. And Mosca decides, let's not take the damage. Let's pull back home. Chariot archers slowly popping out here for recon. One villager does end up falling. Oh, this guy's having some issues, but that's fine. Siege tower in now, though, and this is where things get a little bit shaky for Mosca. The big thing here, though, is the chariot archer numbers are low, and a whole bunch of Yumi archers should be enough here with a nice front line of something. A nice front line of something here. Dojo going down from Mosca. Siege works is working. The Pharaoh actually empowering the siege works at the moment, but Recon's at full population. I do love the idea of just walking forward and putting a Migdol in. Will Recon decide to go for that, though, is the big question. He's going for a talent center, the safe play. Spearman onto the backside here, getting deflected. Every bad engagement here is working in Mosca's favor to get him to full heavy, which is going to allow him to actually deal with this. But he charges in onto the bottom side to hit off that gold mine as well. Great move from Recon. He's only now just going to be grabbing himself medium spearman, funeral rites, necropolis, all in queue. Buildings going down left, right, and center as Recon drops another temple on the front, potentially for more priests. I don't know. Over onto this side, do see a little bit of a raid. Scorpion men in. Town center will be finishing up here, and the villagers probably don't even need to garrison, to be honest. He can just kill off those units because he's already there on the defense. Recon is completely inside the brain of Mosca at the moment. Every movement that Mosca is going for, Recon is reacting to. Partly because he sees the entirety of the map, but also because he's just that good. But now the next tier of Bushido is in. Yumi versus Chariot Archers. Kind of a difficult fight. I don't really know who wins it because they both have 19 range. So there's no advantage. So it is just straight who has more DPS or HP or effective HP, right? I think Chariot Archers have more effective damage. 8.8 versus 7.7. One is 3 pop and the other is 2 pop. I guess the Mosca units are a little bit stronger there. Recon doesn't have his bronze upgrades though, nor his heavy chariots. That might turn the tables into Recon's favor there, but Mosca is fighting back valiantly. Up onto the left side for the time being here. Recon's got to be aware that maybe sending a Scorpion man over there or sending some Chariot Archers or sending some Spearmen over the other side is going to be a nice way to go here moving forward. Siege Tower is getting deflected non-stop here as Recon's attack is unrelenting. He does charge over here. He takes down the wall. Villagers will bail off on this gold mine for the time being as Recon is going to be searching. The villagers are on this wood line, but he doesn't see it. Maybe he'll see one villager popping out or something like that, but whether he actually pops over there and takes a look, these villagers have a long run to get back into safety there. Recon pulling back. I think he still has to keep putting pressure on because he's got such a population advantage. Heavy Spearman now coming through. Raid's getting deflected yet again. Spearman idling over here. He does miss the villagers and they will immediately move down to get themselves back onto the gold mine as the Spearmen vacate the premises. An amazing deflection here from Mosca, to be honest. He's playing as well as he can in the position that he's in. But Recon, he's got 2 town centers. He's got 3 town centers, excuse me. He's got 3 here. He's got 100 villages. He's got Migdols up all over the place. Watchtowers coming through. More siege towers coming in. There has to be a Mythic Age coming shortly. Now, whether you go for Thoth or you go for Osiris here, I don't think it really matters. A fourth town center coming in on this left side for Recon is incredibly greedy. But he's going for it as the spearman coming in onto this backside, going to take some villagers down. Town center going to get shanked down as Mosca realizes, I got to do something to prevent this from happening. Lots and lots of damage onto these villagers here. The entirety of Mosca's army over on this left side as the siege tower yet again hitting the town center. The villagers coming up here to deal with this. Naginata Riders searching over here, but the spearmen are already in to deal with those. Can Mosca win this fight is the big question. He's getting his town center up. He will have himself 3 town centers. He's still in the heroic age. Sorry, not the heroic age. He's still in the classical age at the moment as Thoth is now coming through. Up to the top here, the spearmen going to be dealing with the Naginata Riders. Great raid from Mosca, but better deflection from Recon. Still trying to knock this town center down. Does Mosca have himself his Mason's tech? No. But a great defense thus far. Town center has 8 villagers inside of it to pop out and try and take out the siege tower, but there's so many units in for Recon that he can't really do that. And now the town center ends up falling, and Recon is going to be able to grab this one for himself. Over onto this side, villagers coming through, but the chariot archers are in, the spearmen are in. Tiny little raids, tiny little amounts of units here to deal with all this. The villagers even getting brought into the attack. I'd love to see another Migdol stronghold getting dropped down here by Recon as well. He's getting one up onto the top side, slapping fortresses down all over the map. Is the game plan on this map, and it's always been the game plan on this map. Another Migdol stronghold for Recon to come down on this position to potentially secure the town center too. And with Thoth, it does come the incredibly powerful technology, Valley of the Kings, but at 20 minutes, 21 minutes, both players have got 100 villages. They've both got enough economy. But Mosca says he knows he's too far behind. Once the Mythic Age comes in, that's catapult, and that's a lot of issues. And Recon manages to take Mosca out in 4 games with some incredibly powerful gameplay. He got 2 wins with the Egyptians. He got 1 win with his Norse. An incredible series here from Recon, as he will be moving on to the next round, but that doesn't mean we have to wait. We're going to see him playing again today. Unfortunately for Mosca, that is the end of his Pandora's Box 2 journey, so to speak. He'll have to participate in the next tournament, whenever that may be. But nonetheless, we're going to take the shortest of breaks here while we get set up for Grass and Groom and Soup. Don't you guys go nowhere, and we'll make that happen. See you guys shortly. Look at the villager differential right now. 36 to 83. Restoration comes down. Nidhogg comes down. Flaming Weapons comes down. The Nidhogg almost drops it immediately down to 500 HP. In fact, it's dead already. It's dead already. Recon charging in though. Underneath, how many sentinels? How many fortresses? There's no way this fight can go well for Recon, but doesn't matter. He's got such a villager advantage at the moment. Fort and Kavoth is just sitting here. The madman. Deconstruction going down onto the temple. He does traitor the Hydra as well, and Kavoth's still sitting here. He clicks bronze. Behemoth over onto this side. They're not attacking the town center. They're not attacking the town center. What is he doing? The heroes on top of the Behemoth is absolutely gigantic, but the army of Kavoth is getting obliterated here. At least it looks like it. The Hydra to come up is going to be a nice addition to this army as well. The Karabalisters just absolutely dominate. Even the bronze units here. All the Prometheans as well are in. Kavoth needs the Paspis, he needs Peltas. Taking this fight was not the right call for Kavoth. Moment as the Yachts are coming over onto this side. Rappel here under some pressure. While he wants to put pressure on, he does have to remember to bring a villager if he is going to be shifting Sandsing onto this position, because the farms will come up and then he is going to be able to hide his villagers. Is he going to go for it or not is the big question. A moment of silence. 15 seconds. Units are coming in, and there goes the Shenong's farms as the villagers are going to be shanking this down. Does he not know? He's trying to stop the towns. Are we just... Huh? Huh? Rappel. Rappel is going to try and take the town center down here. He loses the Pharaoh. The Wadget's going after those Kwafu here. The town center is at 300 HP. Does he have enough stuff here or not? He could steal the farms and he could be getting himself some resources back. The town center down to 60 HP, not repairing it. It's going to go down. Rappel does manage to kill the town center, but at what cost? Still, there is a peasant over here as well who had the farms. I think she was gathering the farms there to keep the Kwafu alive. So the outplay of the outplay to come through. Rappel has 11 villages left. Shifting Sands coming through. I can't see it because it's in the main base. Charging it down. Center going to be going down. No Huang Di. Good sir, as the priests are going to sit here healing this up. Town center is out of here. Is that he's got himself all of these Corab Alistair, and Thunderdome is so good versus Corab Alistair. You see a castle coming up. And Tunison literally just left. He's had enough. He says, I don't particularly want to play with you anymore. I don't want to play with you at all. See ya. Goodbye. Goodbye. He's out of here. The base is completely abandoned. And the forest is coming down. It's locked off. It's locked up. And Mosca's got no idea. He's got no idea. He's got no idea. 18 Stymphalian birds versus 35 Plaguebringer on I'm sorry, the Stymphalian birds do not win this. They do not win this fight. And the Cyclops picks up the dwarf. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, another day, another you, another me, or should I say, another game, another you, another me. We got ourselves our next matchup of the day. Our next matchup of the day, indeed. Another blockbuster affair here. We've got Grass, we've got Husk Soup. Super. I still don't think I'm saying that right, but I tried. I tried, and that's all that matters, right? Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the result, just so long as you gave it your best. That's all I want out of you guys, just giving it your best. And if giving it your best means to just tell your mum and not tell your nan about Pandora's Box 2, then that's fine. But at the very least, we need you to try your best with this one. That's all. Alrighty. Let's talk draft. Soup bans out Uranus, bans out Gaia. Obviously, the Atlanteans absolutely broken, overpowered at the moment. And Grass bans out Susanoo, bans out Tsukiyomi, two incredibly powerful gods for Soup. Then Soup picks his Chronos, takes away any type of Atlanteans from Grass. Grass then grabs himself Hades Set, two very powerful gods for Budapest, potentially also Prairie, Atacama, Frozen Continent as well for Set, not terrible. Then we got Thor Isis pick from Soup. Mainly Isis there. Soup, I don't see him playing a huge amount of Isis, but he can. But I think that's just to keep it away from Grass. Very solid pick, and he knows that Grass can play it. Grass then obliges and said, no worries, you take the Isis. I will take myself Ra, and then I will take myself Freya. And then Soup says, fantastic, give me Fushi, give me Loki. Grass takes Odin and Nuwa, and then Soup finishes up his shenanigans there with the Shen Nong. Our first matchup is going to be a Thor versus Set, which should be an interesting one because Soup plays a very, very nice Norse versus Egyptian. The Egyptian gods are terrifying for Norse. And if you ever ask Soup on his stream what he thinks about Norse, he thinks they're pretty weak. And yet he has two Norse gods in his draft. So sometimes it's best to just not listen to the top players because they're on their own agenda. They've got their own agenda, I tell ya. Everyone's got their own agenda. But nonetheless, let's check out this head-to-head, talk through how these guys have matched up over the years, so to speak. And it looks like they have played each other once, and it was in a qualifier, which was the Wrath of the Gods. Actually, was it a qualifier? No, it wasn't. It was the actual main event. It was Wrath of the Gods quarterfinals there, where Soup actually knocked Grass out 3-1. So Grass here has to be thinking about vengeance. How can he get back and smack Soup in the face in this game? He wants to take Soup out. Makes sense. Taking Soup out would feel really good. Nonetheless, we'll see if he's going to be able to do it here. Now, draft-wise, I don't think there's an advantage either way here. I think both players have got some really strong gods. But Soup strategy-wise, I don't think Soup's got too many surprises up his sleeve here for Grass. Thor fast advance is obviously good, but I don't think he really wants to do that. Maybe he might try it versus Set. He might just go for a Dwarven Armory type deal. The Loki fast advance he might go for, but he wants that on Budapest anyways. Fushi on Frozen Continent maybe. From Soup was a nice idea that we've been seeing people play for. Chronos on Frozen Continent as well could be really nice there. The ideas of playing a Chronos Rush to try and take out the Ra on that map. Lots of different choices there along the Soup lines. Not really time to talk about Grass's options here. So let's jump into our first game, which is going to